Hi everyone, welcome to this class, Management Information Systems, DIT 1308. I'm Solomon Cheruiyot from Mount Kenya University. During this class, we shall look at introduction to information systems, and for this particular session, we shall focus on the following system concepts and business perspectives of information systems. For us to get into information systems, we need to understand some few concepts about systems. We need to understand what is a system. We also need to understand the different types of systems that are available across the board. So basically, in terms of a system is a collection of interrelated components that work together. Set of components that work together with a particular objective or with an aim of achieving a particular objective. So we say that a system is basically a group of interrelated components that work together towards a common goal by accepting inputs and producing inputs in an organized transformation process. So we are looking at different parts or different sections or different components that all together work to achieve a common objective. And that is what forms a system. Just like a body system, we have the head, we have the brain, we have the hands, we have the legs. All of these particular components work together to achieve a common human-related objective. In reality, we have several types of systems. We have formal systems, informal systems, deterministic systems. We have probabilistic systems, we have closed systems, we have open systems. All these can even work together, or you can find a particular system combining the characteristics of one of these particular types. So a formal system usually has some accepted and fixed rules and standard operating procedures. A formal system is usually structured. It must follow a particular set of rules. They're usually predefined rules that must be followed for a particular process to go on or to be executed so that some inputs are achieved. That is a formal system, well structured. There is a fixed rules or a set of rules, set of procedures that must be followed in order to get some output. We also have informal systems. Informal systems, just the opposite of formal systems. These informal systems, they rely on unstated rules, which are not structured in nature. So there is no clear procedure that can be followed so that some output can be achieved or some output can be displayed in a particular system. So these particular informal systems, usually they don't have the standard operating procedures, and therefore its procedures can take any angle. You can take inputs from any angle, you can transform the inputs, and then you can be able to get the outputs for that particular informal system. There is no clear set of rules for this particular type of system. We also have deterministic systems, which usually operate on predefined procedures, and therefore when you have predefined procedures that are set aside, you already know that you can predict the output. You can predict the future of that particular system. You know that this particular system is going to give us this particular type of input, or this particular type of output, if we give it some particular inputs. So they are usually predefined, and you are very sure about you are certain about the output. You know that if we give it some output, it will give us some. If we give it some input, it will give us some output. So usually it operates on some predefined procedures, and therefore you are certain about the future of that particular system. You know that this particular system is certain to give us a particular behavior. It's supposed to behave in a certain manner once it has been given some inputs. We also have probabilistic systems, which is basically the opposite of deterministic systems, which operate on, these probabilistic systems operate on uncertainty. So we can say that they operate on probability or chances, and therefore their future behavior cannot be determined accurately. You cannot, you can say that if you can give it some output, yes, but you don't know what kind of inputs, what kind of output it will give you. Such systems can get inputs from different areas across the environment. So it can get inputs from different environments, and therefore it can give you unexpected outputs, or the outputs that you don't actually expect. So they behave differently compared to deterministic systems. They operate on chances. We also have cybernetic systems which adapt to their environment for survival. They're usually self-organizing, self-monitoring, self-regulating automatically. For example, the orbit is self-adapting in nature. It can be able to monitor itself, it can be able to organize itself, monitor itself, and behave in a manner that relates to the environment that it is currently in. That is cybernetic systems. We also have closed systems, a system that do not interact with the environment. Such a system may not get inputs from the environment. Such a system may not give output to the underlying environment. It is a closed system. It does not interact with its environment based or in relation to inputs and outputs. We also have open systems, which are very good in terms of communicating with the environment. Such systems can be able to get inputs from the environment, and again it can be able to process those inputs and give output to that particular environment, or even to a different environment. So an open system is interactive in nature because it is able to communicate with the environment. So these systems, you might find a system playing, or a particular type of system within your domain having some characteristics of maybe open systems, deterministic, formal, and so on. We can have a combination of these particular types of system in a particular system within a particular domain. You can have a formal system, or a system that behaves as if it is formal in nature, as if it is deterministic, as if it is open in nature. So we cannot say that a particular system just is meant for a particular type. So you can have an integration of these systems within a particular domain. We have an information system. An information system, very important now for our case where we are talking about information and systems. And based on the definition that we looked earlier of a system, remember we said a system is basically a set of components that are related. They work together to achieve a common goal, or to achieve a common objective. Now we have an additional term, information. We talk of information being processed data, which means we have an automated system somewhere, or a computerized system somewhere. So if we combine information and system, we can say that an IS, or information system, is basically a set of components which are related or interrelated in nature. They collect or retrieve data from the environment, they process the data, they store the data, and distribute the information to support decision making and control within an organization. So we can clearly see that we are talking about some set of interrelated components which are physical and non-physical, because here we have human beings, we have software, we have data, we have networks, and so on. So we have physical and non-physical components that work together to achieve a common goal within an organization. And that's why we talk of an IS or an information system, being basically a set of interrelated components working together. These components, they can be in form of computer hardware, computer software, or even human beings, all of them working together to achieve a common organizational goal. When we look at the components of an information system, based on the definition of an information system, we have said that an information system has an interrelated or set of interrelated components that work together in relation to processing, in relation to data retrieval, in relation to storage, and so on. When we look at components of an information system, we can actually define 5 or 6 components. We have the hardware, we have the software, we have a database somewhere, we have a network to provide the formation of telecommunication systems or platform for all these components to interact. We have people, human beings, and we have procedures or rules that should be followed for a particular task to be executed or to be done. An operation to be done, there must be, for an operation to be done, there must be some set of procedures. It could be standard operating procedures within the organization. It could be procedures that are well defined within a software platform, and so on. So all these components interact together. An information system must be able to work within a network so that people who are located outside the organization can be able to access information from the organization. A system, an information system, should have a database, which is a collection of records within that particular organization. The information system should have software, which facilitate the functions of hardware, access to the databases, the use of the network for the people to work around the information system by following some procedures. So the computer hardware, of course, are the physical parts of the computer, the processor, the keyboards, the mouse, those basic physical parts of a computer. We have the human beings, of course, within the organization, whether they are within the organization or outside the organization, and the procedures, of course, that we must be able to follow. Within this information system, there are common operations. These operations relate to the components that we have talked about: the hardware, the software, the procedures, the people, the network, the database, and so on. In summary, the operations relate to input, processing, storage, and output. And most importantly, we have a control mechanism that is called feedback. Feedback from output. This feedback is the output that is returned to the appropriate people or activities within the organization. So within the organization, we can have feedback so that we can be able to evaluate a particular process that has just been executed or has just been performed by a particular set of components within the information system. So feedback is very critical because it enables us to make decisions. It enables us to see if we can proceed with the current trend or we can bring in change within the organization. If we don't use feedback well, then we might not know exactly where the organization is going. So it is very important. Of course, it is very important to have the input, to process the inputs, and it's important to store these particular results of processing in a storage device or in a storage platform, so that we can use them or retrieve them for in future and use the same for reference purposes. It's also important for people to see the results of a processing operation so that we can be able to make decisions, and we can be able to get the output and feed it in the system also, so that we can regenerate or make decisions again. So that is very important, the operations. Remember, we are talking about information within a system. So basically, we are talking about information system. And within this particular information system, information, remember, is processed data. So we get some results from the system. So any information system must be able to produce information as output. And this particular information should be critical because we use information to make decisions within the organization. Remember, we are using an information system to drive us to the future within the organization. We are using the information system to allow us to make decisions. We are using the information system to capture data, basic data within the organization based on daily activities and so on. So the information that we get from the system must be able to carry some characteristics. Several characteristics are critical. Like, for example, the information that we get should be relevant. It must pertain to the problem at hand. It must relate to the problem at hand. It must be able to make sense. It must be relevant to the current situation. Otherwise, it will be useless in the current domain that we are working on. So it is important to get or to give to the users, whether we are talking about managers or lower level users, it is important to have relevant information. There are information which might not be relevant within a particular level within an organization, or which might not make sense to a particular level, and therefore such information should be abstracted. It should be hidden within that particular level, so that only the relevant information is given to that particular level by the information system. We are looking at an information system that is being used within an organization, whether it is a banking domain, learning domain, an hospital domain. Therefore, it is very important. While you use the IS, always make sure the people are getting relevant information. And we have different types of people within the organization. So it is critical to give them relevant information. The information that we get also must be complete, so that we make decisions that make sense at the end of the day. So partial information is often the worst than no information. If you give out partial information, it could be dangerous because within the organization, because such information cannot be used to make decisions. You might make decisions which are not complete based on the data that is not complete. So it is difficult for managers to make decisions without sufficient information. If you are given few information or information that is not complete, then you might not really make a decision that is going to help the organization based on the current problem that you are dealing with. So information should be complete. All the information systems that can be seen as good or can be classified as good within an organization should give you complete information. Accuracy is another characteristic. Of course, information that have errors may lead to very disastrous decisions within the organization. So false is just close to giving out false information. Inaccurate information is not right within any particular domain. So always make sure that the information being generated by the system or the information system is logical or makes sense, it's accurate, it's based on actual data that was keyed in for that particular problem that you are dealing with. Otherwise, you might end up making very disastrous decisions, especially based on the level of management that you are in. If it is the strategic level, then you can make long-term disastrous decisions. Again, the information that we get from the systems or information systems should be current. It should be current. Should be current. So decisions are often based upon the latest information available. There is no need of giving users information that is not current. It's important to give users information that is current to that particular time and period. So if we are talking about 2020, of course you need to give out information about 2020 and not 2015, so that users can make decisions based on that particular current information. Again, the information that we get from any information system should be economical. We say that in a business system or setting, the cost of obtaining information must be considered as one cost element involved in any decision. Some information to retrieve or to get some information can be very expensive even to the organization. So it is very important to take note. How much is it going to cost us to retrieve or to get this particular information, so that at the end of the day we remain relevant in terms of profits within the organization, so that we don't spend a lot more than what we are getting in trying to get the information. So always, if you are dealing with any particular information system, make sure you at least use the least cost to get the information or to display information to the users. Last but not least is that information should always be timely, because it is usually said that late information is just useless. Any information that comes late is useless, and therefore the information system should give us timely information at the right time when we need that particular information. So within the information system, the information must be available at the right time when it is needed. Otherwise, the benefit of that particular information is lost, which is very true. If you give out somebody information 1 year later, 6 months later, after some event has already occurred, of course that information becomes useless. That's why we say the benefits are lost. Otherwise, that information should make sense, should be timely, so that people can be able to react and go to the next step or be able to perform a particular task when that is information is still relevant and of course usable. So those are the characteristics. Information systems, we have a business perspective of information system, a business view of an information system. If you are in a particular organization, you can be able to view an information system in three dimensions. You can have it, you can view it in terms of discuss it or look at it in terms of organization, in terms of technology, or in terms of management. Why? Simply because an information system is an organizational and management solution that is based on technology. That is based on technology. An information system is an organizational and management solution. Organizational and management solution that is based on some technology. So we have these three dimensions to discuss when we are looking at an information system within a business perspective, within a business or within an organization or a company. So if we look at these three items, when we talk of an organization, basically we are talking about the people within the organization, the structure, and most importantly, the operating procedures. The operating procedures. Of course, we have other things that come in, the politics of that particular organization, the culture of that organization. But it's very important to always refer to the operating procedures when you are talking about the organization. Other things will now come in, like the people within that organization, the structure within that particular organization, and of course the politics and the culture which are usually affected by the standard operating procedures. So all the rules, that's what we call the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, should be well defined within an organization. They should be well defined within an organization. There must be rules that guide employees in a variety of activities. Most procedures are usually formalized, and when we talk of formalized, remember the concept of formal systems comes in. The concept of formal systems comes in, where we have standard operating procedures, fixed rules of doing things, and so on. So within the organization, always think of the structure, the operating procedures, and the people within that organization, of course, who are going to follow the operating procedures, and of course, who make up the structure of that particular organization. Remember, most of the organization will have departments, will have sections like sales and marketing. It will have manufacturing if it is a manufacturing firm. Not all organizations will have this department. Most of them will have finance department, accounting, and of course, very critical, human resources and R&D, that is research and development. So within the organization, all these rules, the operating procedures, will always work within these particular functions of the organizational functions, or the functions of the organization, or basically the departments. We have rules, standard operating procedures for sales, standard operating procedures for marketing. Those are rules which are being followed within that particular, or those particular departments: HR, human resource, accounting, finance. These rules define what should also be done within the information system. Remember, we are looking at an information system. And to discuss information system, there must be procedures. There must be rules which are followed. These rules will be integrated. The rules that are followed within accounting, the rules that are followed within finance, human resource, will be blended into that particular information system, so that the information system can work within the objectives of the organization. We also have management, and when we talk of management, of course we are within an organization, and therefore we need management. We need management so that the management part of the organization can make decisions. So the management's role is to make sense out of the many situations that are faced by an organization. And of course, formulate action plans. Action plans to solve organizational problems by following the standard operating procedures within that organization. If there is a need to change the standard operating procedures, then the management will come in there. Their role is to make sure that SOPs are usually followed, the rules within the organizational functions or departments within any organization. So the role of the management is to make decisions within the organization based on the many situations that the organization is currently in, and of course formulate an action plan. These action plans must be also looked at or blended within the information system. So when we are talking about management, it is very critical to look at three important levels of managers. Because we have management, of course, we have managers within this particular platform. So we have the senior managers at the top level, we have the middle managers and operational managers. The senior managers, we shall be looking at the organizational levels or management levels. The senior managers usually make strategic decisions within the organization, long-term decisions within the organization. Decisions that can maybe look at the future in terms of 10 years, 5 years, 15 years, and so on. Then we have the middle-level managers who carry out the programs and plans of the senior management or the strategic level management. So they carry out what has been planned across this particular level. We also have operational managers who are responsible for monitoring the firm's daily activities, daily transaction. If it is a shop, we talk of things that are being sold in a daily, in every minute, every second, and so on. So the transactions which are being done every day is the role of operational managers to look into that. We also have information technology, where we now talk of systems. We have the hardware, computer software, storage, the networks, and so on. So basically, information technology comes in as a tool that will enable all the managers, senior, middle, and operational managers, to cope with change, to cope with daily routines, to cope with their routines based or depending on their level within the organization. So IT basically comes in terms of all these, the physical and non-physical parts of the information system. And don't forget, we have the communication technology, which enables people to communicate across the world. That marks the end of lesson 1. We shall be looking at lesson 2. We shall look at approaches to information systems and levels of information systems. Thank you.
These televised lectures supplement our robust online learning going on our MKU online platform. You can view more on our televised lectures via our online platform. We are in a digital era, and Mount Kenya University knows this. The following are the steps to follow so as to complete your online application. Download the application form from the website www.mku.ac.ke. Attach copies of your academic certificates and ID. Pay the application fees via M-Pesa pay bill number 270988. Your ID is the account number. 2,000 shillings is the charge for a postgraduate. You can also deposit in the bank accounts provided on the website. Then email all the above to apply@mku.ac.ke.